was at another big show in Barcelona a few months ago, and I was presenting Nokia Siemens multi-screen solution back then. And one of the statistics that I was quoting was that Netflix accounts for 20% of all US internet traffic. That was in February. By now, it's 30%. There's a huge growth in mobile broadband traffic that is obviously driven by online video. And with that growth, what we see at Nokia Siemens is that growth in the demand for broadband capacity, it pulls with itself all kinds of other investments at the operators' networks. For example, obviously the first thing that you need to invest on is your wireless capacity. That's what everybody is talking about, and that's what everybody is doing. But with itself, you've got the investment in backhaul capacity, you've got the investment in the optical networks, and here at the show, we're with our optical mobile lab showcasing NSN's optical solutions.
Good.
So the huge trend is the surge in demand for bandwidth and the way that operators need to respond to it. Together with the huge needs for capacity, of course you see these LTE networks coming online later this year and in 2012. And they are obviously going to solve some of these needs for capacity, but the investment will definitely continue, and at NSN we're ready to meet that. Well, it's interesting that you say that. Obviously, I think the first wave of demand for traffic comes from the radio wireless side.
Right.
And it's also very visible in the market, and it's very visible to consumers, the need for radio capacity. And with that radio capacity needs, they will pull with themselves a lot of investments in backhaul, in optical, in Ethernet, transport, but I think the radio is clearly the driver here. Well, two things really there. First of all, and this is something that is kind of happening in an industry adjacent to the telecom industry in the media. So I don't know that we can do really a lot about it in telecom, but I think it's a phenomenon that all of us need to be aware of. The cost of content seems to be rising.
Yes.
What we see, and there were a few pieces of research that we talked about, that the cost of content from broadcasters to the content distributors is rising faster than inflation is rising, for example. So the content is more and more expensive. Not something that we can really solve in the telecom industry, but we need to be aware that the margins in some areas of our industry are getting squeezed by the more expensive prices of content. You see a lot of multi-screen applications out in the market, and it's funny, when you think about early 2000s, late 1990s, what happened, there was one phone at the house, and then suddenly there were many phones in a household.
Right.
What I think is happening right now in the media market is there is one TV, one media consumption screen per person. But soon we're going to see many screens per person. Pockets of demand, and I think it's somewhat a cultural issue. Video or TV on smartphone has taken off in Japan and Korea.
Right.
That's it. That really is it. We've tried here in North America. It didn't really truly take off.
Right.
Well, I think it's simple. You need a bigger screen. Tablets, 7-inch, 10-inch, iPads, Android devices are absolutely driving this.
Good.
So it's not the smartphones in this market, it is the tablets, and the predictions for tablets are absolutely on the rise.